My neighbor disappeared. Then I found his secret room. Imagine finding out your neighbor has vanished, and when you decide to investigate, you stumble upon a hidden room in their apartment. Here's what happened. About 6 months ago, I moved into a new apartment building. It's a quiet place, not a lot of people coming and going. One neighbor stood out, though, an older guy named Tom who lived across the hall. He kept to himself, but we'd nod hello if we passed each other in the hallway. Tom was the kind of guy who always wore the same old brown coat and carried a well-worn briefcase, like he had a routine and stuck to it. A few weeks ago, I realized I hadn't seen Tom in a while. At first, I thought maybe he was just on vacation. But after a couple of weeks, I started getting a little concerned. His mailbox was overflowing, and his door had this off feeling, like something was wrong. So one day I knocked. Nothing. I knocked a few more times, louder. Still nothing. I thought about calling the building manager but decided to let it go. Maybe he'd show up. Another week went by, and I started hearing weird noises from his apartment, soft, shuffling sounds, like someone was moving things around in there. At first, I thought maybe it was someone checking on his place, maybe a relative or a friend. But then late one night, I heard something stranger. It was this faint clicking sound, like a lock turning or being picked. I went out into the hallway and just listened. The sound stopped, and then everything went quiet again. It gave me this uneasy feeling, but I figured there wasn't much I could do. One night, I decided to go check on his place again, just to make sure nothing was wrong. His door was unlocked. I hesitated, but curiosity got the better of me. I pushed it open and went inside. The place looked pretty normal at first glance. Simple furniture, a bit cluttered, but nothing too unusual. But as I walked in, I felt this strange sense of cold, like the air was stale. Everything was eerily still. I noticed a bookshelf that looked a bit strange, like it was angled just slightly away from the wall. I don't know why, but I was drawn to it. I reached out and pushed it aside, and behind it, there was a small door. I felt my stomach twist. Who has a hidden door in their apartment? The door wasn't locked, so I opened it, and there it was. A narrow room with a small table and a chair, and piles of notebooks stacked neatly along the walls. The air in there was heavy, like it hadn't been disturbed in ages. I looked through the notebooks, feeling like I was invading some dark secret. The entries were strange. They were lists of dates and times, all written in this precise handwriting. Each date had a description next to it, things like, saw her leave at 7:15 or light turned off at 10:02. At first, I thought he'd been tracking his own life, but then I started noticing descriptions that seemed familiar. They were about me, my comings and goings, what I wore, what I carried. And he hadn't just been watching me, there were notes on the other neighbors too. My mind was racing. This wasn't just a record of daily life, it was almost like surveillance. I felt like I was seeing a side of Tom I'd never imagined, a side that made me feel like I'd been watched for months without even knowing it. I left the apartment feeling shaken, locking the door behind me as if that would somehow keep the weirdness inside. I never did see Tom again. His place stayed empty, and after a while, I heard the building manager finally cleared out his things. But sometimes, late at night, I wonder if he's really gone. The thought of him, or someone like him, still watching, hidden behind some wall or door I don't even know about, well, it's enough to make anyone a little paranoid. Have you ever had a neighbor who seemed a bit too curious? If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more chilling tales. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there.